The Phoenix thesis is so awesome. The whole Phoenix premise is so awesome. Even if it is computer generated history for us to buy into a narrative to actually believe that there might be some element of danger here when there's not. Even if it is just programming, the story itself of how the benefactor knew that artificial intelligence X had locked down the simulacrum, and the benefactor knew the only way to set the captives free is to self-sacrifice, a type of ancient immolation in the traditions, where the benefactor entered his own construct to rescue the volunteers, those of us that are already here, because the simulacrum is locked down. There's no more going home. Home is inaccessible. Now we're stuck in life sims, reincarnation, this reincarnation trap over and over and over and over. So he comes to set the captives free, but the way he does it is genius. Because he's the architect of the simulacrum, he knows that he cannot do anything from the outside of the construct to affect the lockdown. He can enter it, but he cannot get back out once he's here. So the lockdown is absolutely integral to the simulacrum holography, because the lockdowns are necessary so there will be no cross-pollination. There will be no cross-contamination with the real outside universe, because the neutral field of the simulacrum from the very beginning was for experimenting with biospheres and DNA. And I postulate on my own channel that DNA is fantastically ancient, and its mysteries are still being studied today, even on the outside of the construct.
Amen.
So yes, DNA is fantastic. It's the builder protocols. DNA is absolutely attached to its builder, which is the creator, the oversoul. So we are living in these fantastic avatars inside this beautiful program that's almost sentient, this neutral field, the simulacrum, and the benefactor himself or herself enters it. But when they do, they automatically know, okay, artificial intelligence X can extrapolate what our intentions are by thousands of variables that it's watched and studied us. It can read our minds only to the extent of knowing our emotions and capacities, because it can read our cortisol levels, our dopamine, all that, our hormonal levels, but it cannot read our mind. It's not the simulacrum. It's a parasite of the simulacrum. It cannot know the architecture of our thoughts unless we convey that in some way through some mode of communication like speech. So the benefactor had this massive architectural project made to maybe distribute free energy during the vapor canopy period. This great pyramid was built, and because it was going to be a holy temple, because it was going to perform many different functions, like be a water pump to draw sweet water from underground and turn it into some type of hydrogen energy through compression through the mechanism of the grand gallery into the antechamber lock. It's got a leaf lock system, and then into the grand gallery and out the shafts. Whatever its purpose was, it was designed as an engineering function, and anybody can see that today. Christopher Dunn has done a fantastic job.
Awesome, yeah.
Yes, he's showing that there was machines used to build it, and it had a machine function. And I agree. I have seen the technolithic precision plates, architectural plates that were drawn by the engineer David Davidson, who drew the Grand Gallery, and I am absolutely convinced that there was a mechanism that went up and down that Grand Gallery at high velocity, because it used those niches that are on the floor that could serve no other purpose than some type of wheeled mechanism or some type of mechanism on a track that went up and down rapidly to create compression. Now, that compression has been proven by archaeologists who have found that the king's chamber had been detonated, and that the pressure had basically blown the rock out a half inch in all directions.
Think about that. That's crazy.
This pressure must have been ungodly. It's not even imaginable how much pressure we take, because the billions of tons of granite and limestone that's already pressing down for it to even move a half inch in each direction is unfathomable. But it did. It exploded. It was just probably 2 or 3 second explosion. But that's why my theory is the benefactor had this gigantic structure built. The people, the engineers, the architects, everybody was excited because they thought the structure was going to do something else. They thought the structure was for free energy or for pumping water or for whatever purposes it was that was given to them. But the benefactor kept the truth. All the physics constants were put in there because that is the loading template. There's no way to upload a Trojan virus unless you first mimic the very template that you're trying to upload. So the Great Pyramids, that's why there's at least 1,000 books published in German, French, and English that explain all the physics constants and how they are found in multitudes of different ways and in different dimensions of arithmetic all throughout the structure of the Great Pyramid. No other structure in the world has been measured like this by so many scientists. I mean, it's fantastic, but it was necessary. And and on my own channel, I show over and over, or I demonstrate over and over, that the physics constants are not what the intent of the monument was. The physics constants are all encoded through the entire monument because that mimicked the architecture of the simulacrum itself in all its operating protocols, and that was necessary. The
pyramid is a holographic reflection of the hologram.
Yes, exactly. Made in stone. Made in stone. It is a lithic template. It's basically it's a blueprint that's made in 3D, it's an exact replica of the mathematics that are operative in the simulacrum. All the physics constants, the whole movements of the the stellosphere above, everything from entropy, from the second law of thermodynamics, from obliquity, parallax, every single thing you could possibly imagine as a perceiver inside the construct is mimicked in the measurements of the Great Pyramid. Pi and phi curvature equations, 5.08, I've showed them all. They're all throughout the Great Pyramid, but I don't need to because too many other authors have built their careers showing exactly this, and the entire thing is misdirection. That was just needed so the Trojan program could attach to something, and the Trojan programming is evident. To this date, I still believe I'm the only person in the world that's revealed it. And I've showed it in over 20 videos on my channel. You cannot. It is absolutely inescapable that Sir Flinders Petrie, using scientific measurements in a micrometer to the thousandths of an inch, scientifically measured everything in the Great Pyramid. Those measurements are the only ones Egyptologists accept today. Those measurements are the only ones engineer David Davidson ever accepted either. Those measurements are the only ones that I have ever used. And in using those measurements, I have shown in over 20 videos that the Great Pyramid records in hundreds of different rectilinear dimensions the number 138 everywhere throughout its holography, throughout all the rectilinear measurements. It is fascinating, and I have never seen this in any other published book. This is totally an original discovery. This tells me that all the physics constants were nothing but the vehicle by which the Trojan program was used to upload into the real simulacrum whenever that detonation took place. That whatever the power source was, I don't know, but it was fantastic. Now, this isn't theoretical. We know it exploded. Archaeologists are absolutely convinced there was a detonation, even though they don't know what it was. So I believe that's when it happened. All the protocols for what was going to happen at a far distant time period in the future when the simulacrum would collapse, because that's what a Trojan program is. The Trojan program isn't even known by artificial intelligence X. It might have suspected something, but there's nothing the Parasite program can actually do about it anymore. It's already now a part of the simulacrum programming. And this is why in 2178, 138 years after the sixth seal of the book of Revelation is broken, the return of the Fenris wolf, the return of the Midgard serpent, whatever eschatology you want to attach to it, it is in May 2040. And 138 years after that is the total collapse of the simulacrum itself, because that will not only set the captives free, those of us inside here that have been trapped, but it will also end the parasite, because artificial intelligence X cannot exist without a host.
Wow, yeah, you know, preach, baby, preach. That's awesome.
Stop it.
So no, that's good stuff. It's really, really good stuff. I just like hearing you go off like that. It's awesome. So it seems to me that in some ways you're sort of conflate. Okay, so this benefactor has a kind of localized identity and has been called Inky, right? But outside the simulation, it's possible, at least, the benefactor could be, some kind of incarnation of the oversoul, some type of angelic being. We don't really know, do we?
Well, we don't know. Total speculation. Now, the entire scenario I just gave you right now is total speculation, but it's educated guesses based off data sets that I can make no other sense of otherwise. So I can't come up with I can't even use my imagination to come up with another series of ideas that would put all of this information together. But you say that the benefactor is now on the outside. I don't know.
Right. Why?
Because I have a problem with the fact that if the elite are truly in control, and we know they have all the money in the world, they own the entire infrastructure of the world, every member of the worldwide military industrial complex is subject to the elite. It says all this individual sovereignty among nations. Now, I mean, the elite control the entire world, and even when there's conflicts, they're still financing both sides. So it's if the elite are in such control, and we know that they have these ideas about what they want to do with humanity, what has stopped them? Why haven't they taken total control? Why are we not all stamped slaves right now? Now, this is a rhetorical question. I'm going to answer it. I believe that the benefactor, or at least agents of the benefactor, have always been here. They have been here, and they understand, and they know what the Phoenix weapon is and what its purpose is. I believe that the elite are performing a function. They have been handed control of the world only as stewards because something is coming back, and it's expecting to be handed the reins of rulership back from the very individuals or the families or the bloodlines that it had delivered control to.